What's going on, guys? 24/7 Tech here, and this is Gear Sport versus Fitbit Versa. A comparison I'm reviving back. I did the Gear S3 video, picture right here of it. It's been getting a lot of attention recently, so I thought, and there's been some comments also saying, can you compare this to the Gear Sport? That's a sort of newer smartwatch, and I sort of got that. So now here's the video for that.
As always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to watch some more awesome tech videos in the future.
Click before, just take 1 second out, and don't forget to click that big red button which says subscribe in the bottom. It really helps me. Even 1 subscriber makes a big difference. There are some segments which we're gonna divide this comparison up into, and there are exactly 5 segments, which are nonetheless design, fitness, features, battery, and specs. Price I'm not going to include as a segment, that's just sort of an overall thing. But these are the 5 things which really make up a wearable, I'd say. The specs, not really, but the specs is mostly due to the fact that there are some things which specs can really tell, such as RAM and storage capabilities, waterproofing. That's specifications. So here's the 5 segments, and let's dive right into this. Compared off, we have the design segment. I'm gonna give grades at the end of each segment for them, but these smartwatches are really nice designs. Picture right here of the Fitbit Versa. Doesn't this look really elegant? And I like the design. I mean, it's got a lot of shame for copying Apple's design, but in general, this smartwatch is still doing really well in the design department. I mean, there are some things you have to sort of make. I mean, you can have a triangle smartwatch, but a square really fits nice with your wrist. A circle, which the Gear Sport has, as shown right here, is also really nice. But if you're looking for a more professional fit, I'd say the Fitbit Versa is definitely your size style. But the Gear Sport is nonetheless a sporty smartwatch. I mean, it says sport in the name, but for professionals, this is still pretty good. But I'd lean towards the squarish design of the Fitbit Versa if you're more about the professionalism. But the designs overall, I'd say more people aren't gonna wear this as a work type of thing. It's more of like a smartwatch, and they have their own fancy normal watch when they go to work. So I have to give the Fitbit Versa an A- for this. That's a really good grade, and that's anything in the A category shows that this product is excelling in it really well. But the Gear Sport just has to beat the Fitbit Versa with an A in this category. So I'd say the Gear Sport is the winner for the design category because it's just more of what people would enjoy. It's more practical in daily life. About the fitness of these wearables, this is basically what you're gonna buy this for. I mean, this is pretty much the part you guys were waiting for. The Fitbit Versa and the Gear Sport are really good fitness devices. I mean, they all have the basics, like the heart rate, sleep tracking, steps, floors climbed, all that stuff. They have those stuff, but it's called excelling forward. Like, Fitbit has some really cool things going on with the female health tracking. That's really nice. And the Gear Sport is really cool just because the intuitive ways, I'd say, with doing fitness. That's really nice, and and Samsung is also partnering with a company to make it even better, make the experience more solid, I can say, and that's really nice. But both of these companies are really striving forward. But Samsung has a bunch of other things like smartphones, tablets, laptops, washers, dryers, appliances. There's so many different products, but Fitbit is just about the wearable. And the Fitbit Versa is not lacking in any department in the fitness, so I have to give both of these an A. I mean, Versa gets an A, just for how solid everything is. It's a solid smartwatch with awesome fitness features, but the Gear Sport also gets an A because it's not lacking anything that the Fitbit Versa is. Maybe 1 or 2 things, but it's getting all the basics right, and pretty much everything is really accurate and really consistent between both devices. But in this one, though it's a tie in grades, I have to say the Fitbit Versa is definitely the winner for this one because just Fitbit pays more attention to the fitness or even the wearable itself, and Samsung, this is just like a product just like fill up that space, you know? That's why the Fitbit Versa is the winner in this category, in my opinions. This is which, as I said in multiple videos before, this is the thing which is going to sway you from this device to this device, because that's what is the game-changing thing. So the iPhone 10 and the Galaxy S9, take for example. The iPhone 10 has some cool things, but the Galaxy S9 has that awesome variable aperture camera. No, it's not a necessity. It's not going to really improve how you use it, but it's a really cool feature to have, and people are just like, wow, I'm amazed by that. So they buy it. So what do these have to offer? They have a lot, I'll tell you. And both of these have water resistance for 50 meters. That's a lot, because you can pretty much take this anywhere and it'll be fine. Just rub it off after you're done and you're all good. 50 meters, that's a lot. And also, both of these have GPS navigation. That's another thing which is really cool. And features are really getting there, but the Gear Sport has something which the Fitbit Versa does not have, at least in the base model, which is Samsung Pay. Samsung Pay is much better than Fitbit Pay. Samsung Pay works with pretty much everything NFC enabled, so I own Samsung Pay. I have Samsung Pay, I use it a lot. And Samsung Pay is way better than the Apple Pay that I also have. So even though the Fitbit Versa, you can get this if you get this, the premium version, which costs the $30 extra. So you get, with that you get Fitbit Pay and also an extra wristband or whatever. I'll go over that later in the video. Samsung Pay really just gives it off for me because it's such a really good way of paying, I'd say. NFC, you have pretty much in every single reader. The shops don't have to replace the readers because this works automatically. And that's why the Fitbit Versa gets a B+ for the features. It's really not any wow features in there. There's nothing really that cool about it. But the Gear Sport is really getting it hard on, so it gets an A in this category. So therefore, the winner for the features category is the Samsung Gear Sport. Battery life is also another issue, but not really an issue. Something which wearable manufacturers should really take in brands to make it really good. The Fitbit Versa and the Gear Sport are nonetheless really good battery devices, but the Gear Sport just churns through that a little more, and I have the Gear Fit 2, as you can see right here. That's also really not that good of battery life. I get around 3 to 3.5 days if I really try with this, which is pretty good. I'd say I usually just keep it in the bed. I have the charger right on my desk setup, just put it down, magnetic charging, boom, done. But the Fitbit Versa and the Gear Sport, luckily, also have magnetic charging, no plug-in cables and everything. I think the Gear Sport runs this way. There's 2 magnets on the bottom. This is Samsung's mechanism. And they just lie on the base. You're all good to go. So charging methods, really easy, and both of these charge really fast. But the battery life itself, with the Gear Sport, you can get around 3 to 3.5 days. But the Fitbit Versa is really consistent, really good at saving the battery life, and it's still pretty bright outside. The display is really good and everything, but you can get around 4.5 days with the Fitbit Versa. So leading towards that, the Fitbit Versa gets an A-, which is still pretty good. I mean, I've seen better battery life with other smartwatches, but the Gear Sport is just a little lacking in this, so it gets a B in this category, which is not that bad, but still a little disappointing. So therefore, the Fitbit Versa does take the win in the battery category, so good job, Fitbit. We're all tied up now, 2-2, that's the score. The next category is the last one. Stay tuned for that. Fitbit Versa has a okay spec sheet. This is the specs category. So the Fitbit Versa and the Gear Sport are really good devices, nonetheless. But the specs really tell if a product is consumer worthy already. And of course, people might tell you specs aren't everything, which I do agree with. You have to hold the product, test it out, everything, for it to actually pop out to you. But specs do play a small role in my opinion. So the Fitbit Versa has an okay spec sheet, I mean, but the thing which just took it out for me is that color LCD display. Not that impressive. LCD, even if you want an LED, sort of something like that, an LCD display, it's okay, it's a smartwatch, but since it's so small, you want to be able to see every single thing, and if the text is like really crunkled up, It just melts experience for me. While the Gear Sport is rocking a 360 by 360 display because it's a circle, a 1.2 inch display, which is pretty big, but because it's a circle, it is a bit limiting, I have to say. Square designs are much better, or even a rectangular design like this. And it uses Super AMOLED. This might be unnecessary for some people, but it does look really sharp, and I have to say, firsthand with a Super AMOLED Samsung wearable, it's really nice to have a good display on your smartwatch. And it's running Samsung's Tizen, which isn't as clean as Fitbit's, I have to say. That's what took off a little from that A+ of the Gear Sport. It's still really good, and the water resistance is 50 meters. You've got 4 gigabytes of storage and 3/4 of a gigabyte of RAM. So everything is really super fast, and nothing is really laggy. So therefore, the Fitbit Versa is not really showing off anything like this in the specs, so it gets a B-. I didn't want it to go into the C territory because it does get the basics right. It does have 50-meter waterproofing and everything like that, but there's no standout specs, and there's no awesome pop-out specs, and the memory isn't that great either. So it gets a B-. But the Gear Sport, with its awesome specifications, wins this whole category, blows the Fitbit Versa out with an A for this category. So you saw this coming for this category. The Gear Sport does take the win in this category. So now we'll talk about the price. So the price is pretty much where the Fitbit Versa is just like, bring it all in, I can take anything, and it's such a beast in that. It comes in at just $199, and this is a smartwatch, not a fitness wearable, a smartwatch for $199. And then there's something called the premium version for $229, which you get a special, here's a picture of it, you get a special band and also Fitbit Pay, which is a little useful. So if I were to buy, I would take the $229 one. It's $30 extra, which isn't that much, and you get Fitbit Pay and also an extra band. I mean, I probably wouldn't use it, but I like Fitbit Pay, or paying in general for my smartwatch. But most of the people will go for this one, the basic $199 one, which is completely fine. But the thing is, it packs so many cool features and specs, and it gets all the standards right. There's no blowout feature. So, but it gets everything so well done. But if only for $200, just seems unreal. But then you put in this device, the Gear Sport, it comes in at $300. But it gets everything included in it. But $100 extra could get you a lot. I mean, it could get you about 10 bands for the Fitbit Versa, because each band on Amazon is about $10. $100 is a really steep difference, I say, between both of these products. So the price is really Fitbit Versa's go-to, because the value is so good for what it offers. And I say the Fitbit Versa is knocking the Gear Sport out of the ballpark for its value at such a low price point. I'm gonna just say right now, the verdict is the Fitbit Versa is the winner. The Gear Sport might have knocked it out with the other categories, but the value is just unbeatable with the Fitbit Versa. The Fitbit Versa hits all the features, the standards, the specs, with everything pretty good grades. I mean, the specs might not be the best you've seen, but definitely workable with. And the Fitbit Versa, one thing that it really offers, and people overlook this, is awesome battery life. You don't see people say, oh, my Fitbit, the battery life is a little not that good with it, because Fitbit is really good at keeping that battery life. And to be honest, battery life is one of the main concerns for me with the Gear Sport, and the Fitbit Versa just is so good at getting the battery life in. So it's all-rounded awesome. It looks more professional. Here's the two products right here, once again for you guys. It looks more professional. I mean, of course, Apple Watch design, I get it. But all around, this device is really good, and that's why this is the winner. The Fitbit Versa is the winner of this comparison, due to the fact that it's really good in every single category. Guys, this is 24/7 Tech signing out. Bye. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel once again, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya.